What if I told you that somewhere on Earth, there's a cave so enormous it has its own jungle, a town where people escaped the heat by building their homes underground, and a place where the ground reflects the sky so perfectly that the horizon disappears? Sounds like science fiction, like somewhere you'd expect to find in a fantasy movie. But every place you're about to see is completely real. The most incredible thing about our planet isn't just how beautiful it is, it's how much of it still has the power to surprise us. Let's begin in Vietnam. At first glance, this looks like an ordinary mountain range, but hidden beneath it lies the largest cave ever discovered. Son Doong Cave is so enormous that a 40-story skyscraper could fit inside parts of it. It has its own underground river, its own clouds, and even its own jungle. For millions of years, the cave remained hidden from the world. It wasn't properly explored until 2009. Walking through Son Doong isn't like entering a cave. It's like discovering a world that was quietly waiting beneath our feet all along. As incredible as that is, our next destination almost makes the Earth disappear altogether. Every year, after a thin layer of rain covers Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni, something extraordinary happens. The world's largest salt flat transforms into the world's largest natural mirror. The reflection becomes so perfect that it's almost impossible to tell where the Earth ends and the sky begins. Pilots have even reported that the illusion makes judging distance incredibly difficult. For a brief moment each year, it's as if you're walking through the clouds. If that place feels too open, our next destination went in exactly the opposite direction. Imagine arriving in a town and wondering where everyone is. The streets seem quiet. The buildings seem small. Then you realize most of the town is underground. This is Coober, Pedy. Summer temperatures here regularly climb above 40 degrees Celsius. So instead of fighting the heat, people built homes, churches, hotels, and even shops beneath the surface. Down there, the temperature stays comfortable all year round. Sometimes the smartest way to change your environment isn't to change the environment at all. It's to change where you live. But our next place proves that sometimes nature creates illusions that seem impossible. From above, it looks as though an enormous waterfall is pouring into the middle of the ocean. It's one of the most photographed places on Earth. But there's one twist. The waterfall doesn't actually exist. The illusion is created by sand and silt being carried down underwater slopes by ocean currents. From the sky, our brains interpret those patterns as a waterfall plunging into the sea. Sometimes reality doesn't need magic. It simply needs the right perspective. And speaking of things that don't seem real, our next destination inspired one of the biggest films ever made. Hundreds of towering sandstone pillars rise out of the forest like giant stone skyscrapers. Some stretch more than 300 meters into the air. When director James Cameron's team created the floating mountains in Avatar, these landscapes became one of their biggest inspirations. The incredible thing is, no special effects are needed here. Nature designed the original. Sometimes fiction doesn't inspire reality. Reality inspires fiction. But our next place wasn't shaped over millions of years. It happened because of one mistake. In 1964, a geothermal well was drilled in Nevada. It wasn't properly sealed. Hot mineral-rich water continued flowing for decades. Slowly, those minerals began building colorful terraces. Year after year, the formation grew taller. Today, Geyser looks like something from another planet. Bright reds, greens, orange, all created accidentally. Sometimes nature only needs a small opportunity to create something extraordinary. Our final destination looks frozen, but it isn't made of ice. At first glance, Pamukkale looks like a mountainside covered in snow, but those brilliant white terraces are actually layers of limestone. For thousands of years, warm mineral-rich water has flowed down the hillside. As the water cooled, it left behind tiny deposits of calcium. Little by little, those deposits created one of the most beautiful natural landscapes on Earth. No artist planned it. No architect designed it. Just water, time, and patience. When we imagine extraordinary places, our minds often drift to distant planets. But the truth is, Earth is already filled with places that feel impossible. Places that remind us that the world is far more fascinating than we sometimes give it credit for. Which remarkable place should we discover next? Subscribe to Briefly Put for more stories that make you see the world differently.